Oh, I'm going to lose my mind! NieR Automata creator Yoko Taro says he's actually been working on a lot of projects recently. It's just that they got cancelled midway. That is the title of an article by Automaton that translates some thoughts that Yoko Taro shared at a Korean games convention, G-Con 2025, where Yoko Taro actually responds to some accusations that Yoko Taro doesn't do any work, and it's only natural for a game that did as well as NieR Automata, a game that I have as my favorite game of all time, to just never get an actual sequel. Or did it? Well, it gets complicated here, and it gets complicated because of Square Enix. We have a lot to talk about. Hello everybody, it's your boy Jmulls, and let's get into this. It's only natural for a game like NieR Automata that saw the success of NieR Automata, that came out all the way back in 2017, that it would see something like a sequel, right? Well, it kinda did. You see, NieR 3 was a thing. Emphasis on was. It was called NieR Reincarnation, and it was a game absolutely loved and cherished for its beautiful environments, unique setting, and a soundtrack that fit right in home with how praised and lauded NieR soundtracks always are. It just had one slight little issue. It was called NieR Reincarnation, and NieR Reincarnation was a gacha mobile game. Do you see where this story is going? Yeah, the game end of service, which means you can no longer play the game. If you want to experience NieR Reincarnation, your best bet is to look up summaries online or watch a YouTube playthrough. Joy, that's how I love to play my NieR games, said no one ever. And we have been waiting for years for something else from Yoko Taro to continue the storyline or to adapt the story from NieR Reincarnation into a game that's gonna actually last and not just be relegated to a freaking mobile game with gacha mechanics. And to tell you the truth, we don't know if Square Enix ever planned on that, or if they still plan on that. We don't know what those canceled titles are that Yoko Taro was working on that Square Enix had canceled for whatever reason. We don't know. He could have been working on NieR. He could have been working on something else. I just know the inner pessimist in me read those quotes by Yoko Taro, and my immediate gut instinct was, I wonder how many of those games were also mobile games. Because we have no proof that they were mobile games. It's just I feel in my heart of hearts like we all kind of know the answer to this, right? Square Enix makes some of my favorite games of all time, and they still put out amazing games that I love and cherish. But also, sometimes even in equal measure, they make some of the most frustrating and annoyingly obtuse decisions I have ever seen a game company make. Normally, I would read more quotes from Yoko Taro to try to get clarification on the situation, but even when you go to the Automaton article, there's just not much more there to glean. Like, here's the article, and I mean, right here it says, Yoko explained that he has actually been quite busy with new projects these days. It's just that most of his recent projects ended up cancelled midway due to circumstances he does not specify. So again, we don't know if any of these projects were NieR related, or what kind of games these even were. For all we know, they could have been more card games. I often get told stuff like, why aren't you making a new sequel to NieR, or Yoko Taro isn't doing anything? But that's because recently, a lot of projects I was involved in got discontinued midway through development. I've actually been working on some stuff. It's just that it never ended up seeing the light of day. I got paid for it, so I personally have no issues with that. Gotta love Yoko Taro. But people seem to think that I haven't been doing anything just because none of the work I've done is being released, Yoko elaborated. There is an interesting thought here, but despite much of his recent projects not seeing completion, Yoko has decided to stay optimistic with his approach, suggesting that he'd rather fail several times on his way to creating something that's actually good than putting out multiple lackluster works. I don't view that as a negative thing, he said. I believe that if I'm going to release something weird, I'd be better off not releasing anything at all. Look, I understand and I agree with Yoko Taro on the idea that don't just put something out for the sake of putting something out, wait until something's really good, then put that out the door. I agree with him on that. It's just the inner pessimist in me can't help but sit back and go, I wonder how many of those canceled projects were actually mobile games, right? Like Square Enix for the longest time now have wanted to try to find their way to get a big success in the mobile market, because at that point it's just an infinite money glitch if you're able to get one of those games to break through and become a massive success there. And it will always tick me off that the sequel to my favorite game of all time, NieR Automata, turns out to be a gacha mobile game that is no longer even playable. Square Enix is a company that oftentimes makes some of my favorite games in the entire industry. And then sometimes, in equal measure, they make absolutely baffling and obtuse decisions that just make me sit back in my chair and go, how did they think of this? Why did they think this was ever going to work? What is the logic? What is the rationale? How do we get from point A to point B here? I don't understand it. It just feels like idiocy to me. So let's talk about the future of NieR. Where do we even go from here? The biggest thing I want to see out of NieR next, I can tell you exactly what I want to see. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, no exception. What I want to see is Octopath Traveler 0. What do I mean by this? Well, Octopath Traveler is another JRPG series that Square Enix does. It also had a gacha mobile game, or a mobile game, not entirely sure which. So what they're doing is they're taking the story from that mobile game, retooling it and changing it in certain ways to fit a regular full release RPG. And they're calling it Octopath Traveler 0. I would like to see the same exact treatment for that be done for NieR Reincarnation. Take the story from that, maybe change it in certain ways to fit a regular RPG more, and make a full game with that narrative and with that story. Because I don't even know all the elements of NieR Reincarnation's story, but I know what's absolutely fascinating from the elements that I do know. And I think they have an opportunity to make a truly unique video game, which is perfect for NieR. One of the biggest charms about NieR, the reason I put NieR Automata at the tippity top, my #1 game of all time, is how it's able to blend seamlessly gameplay and story together to be one cohesive whole. So many games out there act almost as if they're ashamed of the medium that they're in, where they kind of have to go implicitly, don't worry guys, I know we're a video game, but we have a really good story here. What NieR does, and does so dang well, especially Replicant and Automata, I know that's just NieR though, what they do so well is utilize the elements of the medium that are unique to being a video game and use those elements to further and also to tell the story. It's one of the biggest reasons, in my opinion, they had to change elements of the narrative for the anime, because you can't take the story as it's told in the game and just translate that to another medium one for one. It just won't hit nearly as hard, because Automata and also Replicant, but especially Automata, really utilizes all those elements of being a video game, changing up the perspective, using the freaking main menu, the nature of save files. They use all these various elements to tell the story, not just as something extra, but something intrinsic to the overall experience. And to me, one of the reasons I dropped Reincarnation was not just because I didn't like playing games on my phone, I don't, but also I didn't feel that same level of blending the story with the gameplay that I felt in Replicant and Automata. If they're able to take the story from Reincarnation and give it a full RPG treatment, I'm eating. Yeah, I'll have that game every day of the week, and I'm asking for seconds. And I think just by virtue of the type of game that Reincarnation was, you can't just make it the same exact type of game as Replicant and Automata. You have to change it up a bit. But I think they can also give it the opportunity to do something truly unique and to really stand out amongst its peers. And like, maybe Square Enix have had this thought as well, and maybe it was one of the canceled projects that got canceled halfway. We don't know. It's impossible to know unless they just tell us. Or maybe it's something that going to work on down the line. It feels like an obvious thing to do. Or like maybe they just can't settle on how to actually do the gameplay, or if they want to make a bunch of systemic changes to the story or pacing or whatever. There's a million and one reasons to why they may not do this. I feel like it'd be really cool to see though. And if they just go the route of doing a whole new thing as well, I'm fine with that. I just want to see more NieR. But I want to see more NieR with the love and passion that clearly goes into NieR, that also went into Reincarnation, by the way, without the feeling like Square Enix wanted something to trend chase to get mobile game money. I don't want that feeling in the back of my mind when I'm playing a new NieR game. So would I like to see a proper sequel to NieR Automata and NieR Reincarnation at some point? Yes, absolutely. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. I would love to see anything NieR related after this. We have been starving for so long, and all we get are collabs, NieR Replicant, which was pretty good, let's be fair here, and the shutting down of NieR 3. For a game series as beloved as NieR, for a game that did as well as Automata, I think it deserves another full mainline entry. Maybe that was one of the titles that Yoko Taro was working on that got cancelled midway for whatever reason. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe they have not worked on it at all. Maybe they're working on it now. Maybe they're going to work on it at some point in the future. We just simply don't know. But to me, the fact that we haven't actually seen it, to me, is a failure of Square Enix. Clearly there's more story to be told. You made Reincarnation. You have no issues milking the IP for all it has with all these collab events. Where's the next mainline entry? That to me is the baffling thing here. How have we gone this far without seeing it? I don't understand the thought process. I don't understand the rationale. I don't understand how after so many years, for a game that did as well as Automata, you haven't done another new mainline entry for consoles and PC, not counting the mobile game. This goes back to what I was saying before. Square Enix makes some of my favorite games of all time, but in equal measure, they make some of the most baffling decisions in the entire industry in my eyes. Decisions so obtuse, so mind-boggling, that I just sit back in my chair and I go, how? Simply how? It's like missing a layup when the net is right here and you're not being blocked at all. All you have to do is like one of these, and you can't even do this. You somehow do this for some reason. And you weren't even holding a basketball, you're holding like a carton of eggs. And you know, in this economy, that would be a second mortgage. Tell me, God, are you punishing me? Is this the price I'm paying for my past mistakes? What grand sin have we committed? What foul evil do we perpetuate to where our punishment is not getting a new NieR game? What act of penance must I undergo in order to cleanse us of this evil? Well, here's where you come in. Leave a comment down below with where you want to see the NieR franchise go from here. Do you think it should just stop and then move on to something else? Do you want to see NieR Reincarnation come back as a regular RPG in the style of Octopath Traveler 0? Do you want to see another mobile gacha game just, I don't know, for chaos' sake? Not the guy from Xenosaga. Or do you want to see a full new title? I would love to hear your thoughts, hear your opinions, and hear your perspectives. And while you're down there, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. And guys, it's the Game Awards season, and there's two games that I think deserve way more recognition than what they're getting. Heck, I mean, Avowed got nominated for RPG of the Year over these two. I mean, come on! Well, if you want to hear my thoughts about what these games are, what my biggest snubs are for the Game Awards, you should check out this video right here for more. Stay safe, everybody, have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody, until we meet again!